Now, nearly 2 decades later, I can tell you that the real lessons weren't about perfection. What I didn't realize was how much pressure I was carrying around for no reason and believing that mistakes were permanent. And that was further from the truth. Mistakes aren't permanent. One thing that's permanent is lost time. You will never, ever get to rerun those moments. So if anything, my younger self, I would tell you to go harder. Outside of where it all began to get my accounting degree, one thing that I would tell my younger self, slow the hell down. That's a fact right there. I would tell myself to slow the hell down because I blew. I would tell myself to slow the hell down because I was rushing this thing, literally running 6 to 7 classes a semester, another 6 to 7 over the summer just so I can get the hell out. But don't get me wrong, I lived my life. I was enjoying in between classes as well, living my best life to say the least. But one thing I would say is really slow down and enjoy the moments because it isn't that long. Your 3 to 4 hour courses might feel like a decade, but once you live a decade or two after that point in time, you wish you enjoyed it more. Even as it seems like you will never miss it, but you will. Trust me, you will miss it. So slow down, enjoy the moment for what it is. Don't rush through life too fast. Don't push time away. Time will stay a constant regardless. So just make sure you enjoy those moments. With time, you know what's really crazy? As I walk through here, nothing feels different. I feel 20 again. Even though in my 40s, I feel 20 again. Essentially everything is the same. The color of the school or the walkway, everything feels the same. These tinted windows right here catch a reflection each time you go by. Each time I go by, same thing. Standing here really makes me think about the moment and the people that we tend to overlook. And if I could tell my younger self one more thing, it is to really take the time to live in the moment and appreciate the people while they're still around. Once you slow down and start noticing life, something becomes more apparent. You realize where you've been holding back. Slowing down really showed me what I rushed past. But at the same time, it showed me things that I should have went harder on. Go harder on things that actually matters. Not hustle, not grind. Selective intensity. Travel. Make sure you travel. Find a way to carve out some of that spending fun to travel. I tell you, traveling has opened my eyes to a lot of things, to a lot of culture, to a lot of experience. It made my perspective that much better. And if I could tell my younger self one thing, is to travel. Travel like your life depends on it because it's gonna help you grow in ways you never know. Seriously, internally, externally, make sure you travel. If I could tell the younger me one thing, is to express my feelings verbally because actions alone isn't going to do the job. You need to verbalize it. Stack with action, that's gonna carry more weight, it's gonna solidify things, but you gotta verbalize how you feel regardless of the consequence. Because I tell you that regardless of how wealthy you become or how successful in other means, you can't travel back in time and find that closure. I would tell my younger self to go harder on the things that made him feel alive. Once you start going harder on the things that matter, you realize something else. Waiting doesn't make it easier. Don't wait to live. This isn't about the hustle. This is about living life, the moments, the experiences, going with the momentum. For me, it isn't really about waiting. It's really about pivoting too soon and too quickly. I didn't let it marinate long enough and really enjoy those moments. And as time passes, I look back and I wish I could marinate just a little bit longer in those moments, or I wish I could take the initiative to push it harder. Regardless if you're waiting or unintentionally letting things pass by because you're in the mix, whether it be work or any other kinds of distraction, just know that as time passes, things get harder. Our body get accustomed to whatever it is that we're doing. We build habits. So the longer you wait and time carries on, the harder it becomes. So make sure that if you feel something, you act on it. And if you want to do something, go do it. Because if you don't, that waiting will cost you years. And to some, it will cost you your life. They say patience is a virtue, but life doesn't reward patience. Later will become the most expensive word in your 20s. Sitting here, thinking back, my younger self would feel like all the moments on this campus would define how I feel for the rest of my life. The moments that shaped me the most didn't happen here. They happened after I left. What travel gave me wasn't just memories. It was different perspective. It changed how I saw money, time, and what actually matters. I mentioned travel earlier, but I want to slow this part down because it matters more than I realized at the time. What travel gave me wasn't just photos or memories. It gave me a different perspective. Being somewhere unfamiliar, it strips down a lot of assumptions I didn't realize I had about money, success, happiness, and how actually people lived. When you're young, you feel like growth comes from time passing. But for me, growth came from distance. I came back braver, not louder, and with a lot more clarity. Coming back here also made me thought about who I was becoming. Your degree doesn't define you, but it doesn't mean it was wasted. At the time, I was doing my accounting degree and I was going round for round trying to get into the Big Four. Ultimately, I got into PwC, went Big Four route during a recession at the time, so I was blessed for sure, but it wasn't a one shot, one kill. I actually took about 2 hiring cycles to actually get hired. Deloitte was on the top of my list, but I didn't get selected on the final round. But PwC invited me and gave me a tax home for a while. So I was blessed on that front. So I got into PwC, and what came next was interesting. Worked 100 hours plus weeks, OT pay, tons of catering food during busy season. I was actually in international tax, so that was pretty interesting. Training was awesome. That was in ATL for a week. We had such a blast. I never realized at that point in time that accounting wasn't really going to be my thing until it became my thing. That will be expressed more in future videos if you stay tuned. But overall, I would say that all the stepping stones are laid out in front of you, and the stones you choose to step on serve a purpose. Whether it be short-term or long-term, it all becomes a part of who you are through the choices that you make. But remember, whatever you learn is never wasted, but the path you choose is never permanent. If I could leave my younger self one thing after all of this, it wouldn't be advice. It would be to trust. To trust myself earlier. I spent a lot of my 20s looking for confirmations from plans, credentials, and other people. What I didn't realize was I knew more than enough to trust myself to act on. The biggest shift wasn't about learning something new. It was simply listening to myself. Trust shortens the distance of who you are and how you live. One final note to my younger self. Just go with it. Don't plan too much. Go harder. Don't hesitate, express, and enjoy the moments. Don't worry. You'll make it. You're a survivor.